You're listening to the Wool Academy podcast. This is episode number 20.
Hello and welcome. My name is Elisabeth van Delden, and once a week we talk to an industry expert from the wool industry supply chain from farm to fashion and beyond, delivering strategies and insights to be successful in wool and showcasing those beautiful stories wool has to tell.
Today on the show we welcome Dalena White. Dalena is the Secretary General of the International Wool Textile Organisation. Dalena has 20 years experience in textile manufacture and sourcing, working closely with retail. For the past 8 years, she has been involved with brand development and product design in wool and finding sustainable solutions for designers wanting to work with wool in South Africa. Welcome, Dalena. I look forward to talking to you today. How are you?
Hi, Lisa. Very well, thank you.
Excellent. And before we start to dive into our various questions today, I would like to give our listeners a little bit of a background or like behind the scenes, so to say. Our regular listeners have already heard me or also my guests mention the International Wool Textile Organization, which is in short IWTO, many times on the show. And that is, of course, because IWTO does such great work and is such an important body within the wool industry. And you will, of course, tell us all about that in more detail later on. However, I also want to say that I'm such a big fan of IWTO because I used to work there as the Secretary General for 5 years, which is now the same role that you have for almost a year. So for those of you who might think that this is a bit awkward, not at all. I always thought that the Secretary General role at IWTO was the best job in the world. But at some point, it was time for me to do something else and venture into things like starting this podcast and starting my own consulting business. And of course, most importantly, moving in with my husband, which meant moving from Belgium to Germany. And that is where I'm so happy that there's this wonderful Dalena White who was in a similar position of wanting to have a change, a new adventure. And I'm so excited that she now has the best job in the world. And Dalena, you're doing such a great job and you have all my respect because, of course, I know how stressful that job can be from time to time. And that's why I'm even more excited to have you here today and for you to share some more details about IWTO. So what do you think? Should we dig in?
Go for it.
Okay. Well, I guess I already gave a little bit of an introduction earlier about yourself, but please tell us a little bit more about yourself and your career.
Thank you, Lisa. Firstly, thank you for including us in this series of Wool Talks. Of course, we've been following your work here at IWTO, and it's wonderful to be part of this conversation. I was born in Robertson in the Western Cape region of South Africa, and I studied fashion design after school. I qualified as a designer, and my career took me into manufacturing then in the Cape, which was a really strong part of the industry at that time, and into retail, formal and social and casual wear textiles, and eventually to marketing and merchandising of wool projects with Cape Wool South Africa. I've spent the past 27 years learning about textiles, and I still feel like I've only touched the tip of the iceberg. It is such a wonderful field to be involved in, and ever-changing. I'm married to Harry White, lovely man that he is, and we have a son called Daniel. He's 21 years old and has just completed his bachelor's degree in politics and international studies in South Africa. So that's a bit about me.
Great. And yeah, what I love about your background is that you combine so many aspects of design, manufacturing, marketing, and of course, all that passion for wool. So I think that's where you bring a lot to the table at IWTO, which
Thank
brings
you.
us to the next question of, I mean, I said before that we mentioned IWTO many times, and especially in regards to the work that's being done within the organization. But maybe give us a little bit of a, proper introduction to IWTO. What does the organization do, and who are also the members of the organization?
Okay, in a nutshell, IWTO has been the custodian of the wool trade since 1930. We represent the interests of the wool textile trade at a global level, and our worldwide membership includes the entire wool textile pipeline, really, from farm to retail. And if you remember that only of IWTO, then you will know what we do.
Well, that's a really good, concise summary. And tell us a little bit more about the services that you deliver to the wool industry.
So IWTO is a member organization, and whatever we do here is on the back of what our members ask us to do. So IWTO, first and foremost, needs to service our members. Most important is to supply relevant wool textile information and up-to-date research on sustainability, sheep welfare, and biosecurity, which are the main issues for our members. We also have to host these events where our members have the opportunity to network and discuss pressing industry issues twice a year. There's only so much you can do on email, and then you actually have to stand in front of somebody and sort out some issues, and this is the platform we supply. We also publish wool trade standards, arbitration rules, and wool market statistics, which our members find very important. And then, of course, IWTO licensing laboratories around the world ensure that our raw wool is tested to consistent standards and sold at the right level.
Yeah, and you just mentioned the statistics, and I think you just published the latest edition. So I think I'll make sure that when we publish the show notes to this episode, that will also link to those statistics because that is a really useful resource for everyone in the trade.
Thank you. That would be lovely.
And also, like one question that I'm really curious about is because you've already been involved in the wool industry when you were still living in South Africa, you have this advantage of, on the one hand, seeing IWTO from the outside, and now you are on the inside. And tell us a little bit what kind of differences did you see from the views from outside and inside, and did you have any aha moments since you started now a year ago?
Yeah, the aha moments I think we'll share over a beer because you know that maybe that's not all. Maybe we'll keep the aha moments for later. But I would say my most exciting discovery has been the diligent wool science research done by the IWTO working groups. I think if you're outside this organization, you do not understand the level of dedication and passion with which these members give their time and their knowledge to further the output of these working groups. And I find that simply incredible. I'm amazed by their knowledge and input on a daily basis. We regularly receive very tricky wool trade and sustainability questions here at the office, and it could be from retail or industry partners. And we are in this fortunate position where we can forward these to experts around the world in these respective fields, whom supply the most solid science-based answers and reports to each of these inquiries. I'm still amazed at this incredible source of knowledge and information, and it's available to all IWTO members. They can just ask and they get a question answered in the most efficient way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that you mentioned all this diligence research also earlier on. Like, what kind of topics are you focusing on at the moment, and what is really important to the industry right now?
Yeah, as I said, we're a member organization, and the members have asked us to focus on ongoing development of skills in our industry. Very important to focus on wool textile education, and that remains a priority. We have to ensure that the very best intellectual capital is invested in the future of this wool industry. And to do that, we have to nurture the young guns coming through our associations every year. So you know about our young professional program that we nurture at our Congress. And at the moment, we have regular and far-reaching communications of wool sustainability properties, and those needed to support this education drive. So we make it available to our retail buyers and managers and any of the young industry members that need to get this information. We continue to translate the important science research papers into media and retail friendly articles. Very important that we distribute that through digital and print media. And that basically is our main focus at the moment.
Yeah, and I think you touch a very important point there that there is so much knowledge available in the wool industry, but we haven't yet always packaged it in such a way that it reaches the target audiences that we want to reach. So I think that's a really important work that you're doing there.
Thank you.
I think you always call it put it in a box with a bow.
Yes, you need to put it in a pretty box and put a red bow on it.
Yes. And yeah, you just mentioned the Young Professionals Program and the Congress. And yeah, the next Congress is coming up really quickly at the beginning of May. Tell us a little bit more about the Congress that you hold once a year.
Okay, so this year we contrast the rich history of our industry and the Harrogate venue with a theme that looks to the future. So, how do we grow, sell, manufacture, and market wool in a digital age? If we aim to reach the new generation Z and hope to claim some of this hard-earned cash, we need to know what this consumer is looking for and how he or she is going to shop for it. So, for the 86th IWTO Congress, we are going to celebrate wool in Harrogate, which is a North Yorkshire spa town in the United Kingdom. An interesting little tidbit of history here is that Agatha Christie ran away from her philandering husband in 1926, and the first aeroplane search was launched to find her. She was later discovered in the Old Swan Hotel, where we're going to have our Congress this year, sipping G&Ts and having a ball. So that's the background where we're going to be discussing wool in a digital age this year.
And maybe for those who are not that familiar with the history of the wool industry, that whole part of Yorkshire has a very rich and old tradition of wool manufacturing.
Absolutely. Yes. The heart of it.
Yes, so I think, yeah, and I like that contrast that you just pointed out between heritage, but also looking to the future and the digital age. So
it's most important, yes, taking our heritage into the future.
And yeah, do you also have some interesting speakers that people can look forward to?
Oh yes, we have some very interesting speakers. Speakers have been invited to share their expertise to the benefit of our members and our delegates. We will hear from Leslie Pryor, who is a merino farmer in the UK. So she brought the merino race back into merino farming in the UK, and her connection with a very trendy and young Finisterre surfing brand. So if you can imagine this rich heritage of merino, the UK wool industry, and then reaching out to the guys in the very cold ocean doing incredible surfing in the Finisterre brand and wearing wool. So there's a lovely example of how the rich history of the merino is being pulled through to the young generation. So we're going to hear about her success on that. Chris Wilcox will give us an overview of his wool trading conditions, which is always very interesting and beneficial. And Joe Farron will share the current UK wool market trends with us to give us an insight what's happening in their world. And then we welcome our new member, Benetton, at Congress for the first time. And the CEO will tell us about their vision to make merino wool a staple in their upcoming collections. Again, a brand that has a rich heritage and is bringing wool into their future. So there are quite a few speakers that will cover the full pipeline of the wool production. And delegates will certainly benefit from all those presentations.
Yeah, and I think that's really important what you just said in your last sentence, is that it's a 3-day event, and pretty much on each day you cover a different part of the industry. So at the end of the 3 days, you really are nourished with lots of new ideas, new developments, and knowledge. So I think,
totally inspired, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. And tell us a little bit more about the Young Professionals program you mentioned earlier.
Yes, we've had a fantastic result. I know you've nurtured this program. I'm coming into it new, so you probably know more about it than I do. But with the focus we have on building our skill set in the industry, It's something that we nurture every year, that we try and build on. I know the project started with 10. There was a good result in Sydney. I think you had almost 20, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And this year we have 16 that we have approved. So we're now waiting for the young guns to get their funding together and confirm to us that they will all be attending. The spectrum is wide. We have people from every corner of the world wanting to come and learn more about the wool industry, and we will partner them with mentors during the 3 days where they can really sit and connect with guys that can inspire them to take it further in wool. And this is a program that is very important to us.
Yeah, and we also talked to Monika Ebert, one of the former young professionals at IWTO. So we will also make sure that people can find her interview because she really...
Monika is actually going to be our team leader. So she's going to take part, and she's also going to take care of the young guns.
Yeah, and she's a great example because she really made the most of the whole program and really helped forward her career. So I think she's
a wonderful example.
Yeah, excellent. And maybe of those who never attended a congress of IWTO, like why would you recommend coming, and who should come? Is there a particular target audience that...
Yes, I think it's really, we try and really cover the whole pipeline. So it's business managers, retail buyers, sheep farmers, anybody that's interested in trading or buying or selling wool will benefit from these discussions, because the discussions are quite wide. Although it focuses on wool and its specific properties, the networking opportunities are huge at a congress like this, and you really have 3 days of focused discussions at a very high level. So if you are interested in trading in wool in any form or matter, I think the Congress is important.
Yes, and of course it is always a big investment also in terms of time and money. You need to travel and have hotel costs, and there's the registration fee. But I think you really should see it as an investment into your business and into yourself. And obviously also important, there is a deadline coming up for the early bird fee, so people can still save if they register by the 16th of March.
That's right. Yeah, next week 16th. That's the cutoff for a good rate. Yes.
So yeah, we'll make sure we encourage more people to attend. And yeah, maybe Dalena, before we wrap up, how can listeners find out more about IWTO and connect with you?
Well, now we have to embrace the digital age, and they can find us on the web, www.iwto.org, or just email me direct on white, that's as the color, at iwto.org.
And of course, we'll also make sure to connect to all your different social media outlets, because you have also been taking wool to social media more intensely over the last year. So that's also for sure a place where people can find more information about all what's happening at IWTO.
Yes, please connect on our Facebook and Instagram.
Excellent. Well, Dalena, I really appreciate your time, and I wish you the best of luck for the upcoming Congress and, of course, all the other important projects that you're doing at IWTO. I'm sure it'll be a big success.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then all the best, and I'm sure we'll be in contact.
Oh, yes, we will. Thank you, Lisa. Much appreciated.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed today's short but sweet episode with Dalena White from the International Wool Textile Organization. To find out more about the work Dalena and her team are doing at IWTO, have a look at today's show notes. You will find them at elisabethvandelden.com/episodes. That is elisabethvandelden.com/episodes. Don't want to miss out on any of the future episodes? Then subscribe to our podcast on iTunes or Stitcher, and also like us on Facebook at Elisabeth Van Delden. Thank you, and see you next week.